During our visit to Hong Kong, powered by Bitlayer, we immersed ourselves in incredible events like Bitcoin Asia, Forked, and Ordinals Asia, where we connected with numerous Web3 pioneers. In this episode, we'll uncover how Bitlayer is pioneering a secure and efficient Layer 2 solution through the innovative Big VM paradigm. This breakthrough allows for verification of computations on Bitcoin, marking a significant advancement for the industry. We'll also dive into CoinGecko's latest features, which now enable tracking of NFT prices, floor prices, and charts across multiple blockchains. Lastly, we'll meet with the founder of Bitcoin Startup Lab about the future landscape, focusing on increasing involvement of Ethereum builders within the Bitcoin ecosystem. Step away from your PCs and dive headfirst into the edge of innovation. We're your player two, and this is the edge of NFT. Press start.
Welcome to The Edge of NFT, the podcast that brings you the top 1% of Web3 today and what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts of the business side and also the human element of how Web3 is changing the way we interact with the things we love. This podcast is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers who are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
Hi everyone, this is Josh Krieger, co-host of Edge of NFT. I am live at Bitcoin Asia, and this particular roadshow is powered by Bitlayer. And today I'm very excited to have Kevin Ho, the co-founder of Bitlayer, hanging out with me, and we're having a good time in Hong Kong. Great to have you on the show, Kevin.
Nice to meet you. Nice. Say hi here, Kevin, the co-founder of Bitlayer. We are building a Bitcoin equivalent Layer 2s for Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, and this is a part of an ongoing series we're doing with Bitlayer to really unpack what's happening. We've talked to your co-founder Charlie, and of course you're definitely more technical, so we want to dive into some of those details. But first, let's talk about the vibe in Hong Kong. This is my first trip here. It's pretty exciting. Obviously, the food scene is world class, but what are you sort of picking up here?
Yeah, I love that event. Even though I didn't make it to in that space in America at that time, but I watched the video online, every panel, every keynote. I love that. For me, it is just a very good start for the North America people to know about the Bitcoin ecosystem, to learn more about the projects. And for me, I can learn more about from the views of the investors and the project builders, and they have very good events.
Yeah. So, and what about here in Hong Kong? What's your perspective on what's happening here?
Yeah, Hong Kong actually our base. We are Singapore-based projects, and myself previously living in Hong Kong for a long time, and even for the East builders. There will be a very, very good chance to make the contact with the Bitcoin ecosystem, because there are a lot of builders in the East. They are diligent and making very fast. They can build things, they ship things very fast. And this event just demonstrates to all the builders that Bitcoin have a great opportunity, even specifically in the Bitcoin Layer 2 sector. And we, Bitlayer, are building a very good momentum on Bitcoin Layer 2 sector.
Yeah.
And we love them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Bitcoin Asia for being a great host today. Great turnout, really well-run event. So before we get into Bitlayer, you were sharing with me some of your history in the space, which I found fascinating. We started in the space about 2017, but obviously took very different tracks. You've built 4 L1s, is that correct?
Yes.
So kind of break that down for me, because I don't know how you build 1 L1 in that amount of time. So you've been quite busy. What sort of got you into the space, and what are some of the things that you've done?
Yeah, the history for me, the journey history is in 2017. I read Bitcoin's white paper, which inspired me a lot and even though it can say shocked me a lot. People can build a system simple like this, but it can work. So I joined this industry. It is a bull market at that time, of course. And from day one, I'm building a layer 1. The project is called U10, and we listed in the OKX exchange at that time. And I joined Hobby Group in 2020. And before that, actually, Hobby Group did not have a specific blockchain department. We started a department called Stars Labs. We have over 400 people, engineers there. I'm leading them. In late 2020, we shipped Hobby ecosystem chain with 4 million transactions a day and 14 billion US dollar TVL. These numbers, even now, can be the best performance in the industry. In 2022, in 2021, I launched 2 ZK Lower for Ethereum, which is a perp DEX and a swap DEX. And 2022, we launched a project called Cube, which is backed by Republic Capital. It's a modular design blockchain. And 2023, I have built MPC platform, which is a 5-blocks competitor for HK listed company called Hope, which previously part of Hobby Group. And this is the previous history for mine. And for Bitlayer, actually, this is the 4th EVM compatible blockchains I'm building. And I love that. I love Bitcoin because I joined instantly from the very start because of Bitcoin. And now I'm back to Bitcoin. This is make me very excited.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that history and context. And so I think the next natural sort of step for our listeners is to give them a taste of what is Bitlayer all about. We've talked about it from a broad perspective. Maybe you can talk about it a little bit more technically for us.
Before we start this project, actually we done a lot of research on this area. We think that we get some conclusion. First, there are actually no standard here. There are no standard about what is BTC Layer 2 even though. We got a definition for Layer 2 in a few months ago, which is published by the Bitcoin magazines. We got a standard here a few months ago. And second, actually, I think the project, because I was working for ABCDE Capital before, most of the projects of the ABCD Layer 2 project come to pitch us, and I know what they are doing, how they work. I think most of the project didn't even see the right problem and the right issues. So they can't figure out the right solution. For me, there are 2 major problems in Bitcoin Layer 2 sector. First, it's about make Bitcoin a settlement layer, which we need to verify state transition, verify ZK proof on Bitcoin. No people have done that before. And second, we should build a trustless bridge upon the ability we are talking about, a verification ability we're talking about. So these 2 major issues is not being solved in the BTC Layer 2 sector. So we think we have the right, and only this can make a true BTC Layer 2, a native BTC Layer 2. This is a problem we found, and finally, we are very lucky to find BigVM as the tools we are going to use. BigVM is just a new paradigm proposed in October last year that can verify computation on Bitcoin. It just opened a new door for us. If we own in the whole industry, including me, own a big thanks to Robin Linus, and it just opened a new door for us. And we actually now are working on BigVM project. We are the co-contributor for BigVM project. Our researchers have done a lot of research and wrote a lot of analysis about BigVM. And we also contribute several OP codes to them and several proposals to this project. And also, we have since last year, since they released the white paper last year, in October, we start to build the Chinese and the East community. For now, we have over 50 followers, 50K followers for the BigVM Chinese community. Yeah, we have done a lot of research and public publications about BigVM.
So maybe this is a walk in the park for you because you've done this 3 other times, but what goes through my mind is there's so much ecosystem building happening in real time. Just at this event, there's new products being launched. There's new wallets for Bitcoin. There's new DEXs for Bitcoin. There's other types of infrastructure being built. How are you sort of architecting Bitlayer to be sort of compatible with as much of the ecosystem being built, sort of as the car is being driven, while your car is being driven, and both cars are going 100 miles an hour? How do you handle all that?
Very good question, and I love that. Before we start this project, I wrote several articles about this Bitcoin ecosystem. We analyzed about 50 projects on this area, including, actually we can categorize it into several types. First, the asset protocol, like BRC Ordinal, BRC20, Ruins, and ARC20 and something like that. First type is asset protocol. Second type is the scaling or the layer 2 projects, and like Bitlayer, C3, and other projects are building some kind, and in layer 2 sector, there are several types of projects, including the UTXO model and the EVM compatible environments, and sidechain. We have the several categories here. And for us, we are building Bitcoin security equivalence, low up model for Bitcoin. It's we can say a real native Bitcoin layer 2, because we are going to verify the state transition on L1, Bitcoin L1, which means that this make Bitcoin into a settlement layer. This is the crucial part for Bitcoin layer 2.
So how does this relate to like Taproot protocol and Stacks?
Yeah, Stacks actually a sidechain. It's an old project. We actually we love them. They have demonstrated to the community and the industry that people can accept this kind of projects, and will bridge Bitcoin into their sidechain, and they can have their own ecosystem. But for me, sidechain is a very good model, but it's not be the end game. We should improve the security level from sidechain into low-up model, because even the key part is, as I mentioned, is the verification, which the state transition on L2 should be verified on L1. This is the key part. Sidechain is the best, maybe is the best model for now, but it shouldn't be the end game.
And what about Taproot and Runes?
And Taproot, it's very important. Without Taproot, there'll be no big VM happens, and even though there'll be no Bitcoin ecosystem, the Taproot upgrade, it is the crucial part for Bitcoin ecosystem. We think that's very important, and our project Bitlayer is going to build Bitcoin ZK verified upon Taproot upgrade. Okay. This is the crucial part.
So they're connecting together.
Yes.
And then what about the Runes?
Runes. And I love that, and we think that we also owe a big thanks to Casey, and we for BTC Layer 2, we just welcome more and more assets, more and more asset protocols, because they are all bring new people, new assets, new liquidity to Bitcoin L1. And because Bitcoin L1, and I think Bitcoin L1 is a very good place for the asset protocol and asset issuing, but it's very slow and very expensive, very already congestion here, so we need a layer 2. Yeah, this is very, for me, I love the protocols of Ruins.
Cool. It's really cool to get your perspective on all these. One more I'll throw, what about is Babylon and what they're building, and how does that relate?
Babylon have a very genius way to make Bitcoin can yield. Yeah, it is a side chain. We can call it a side chain, and people, they are just making people comfortable and can trust them to put their Bitcoin into Babylon's ecosystem, and Babylon can move this Bitcoin liquidity to other ecosystem like Cosmos and other BTC layer 2s to earn yield. This is a very good part for the Bitcoin holders. And about the solutions, I have read their articles and white paper. They just propose a very genius way and very wise way to publish the double sign signatures. They using a cryptography method. I think that's great. I think they're great.
Cool. And is what you're doing, does it integrate with what they're doing?
Yeah,
directly or indirectly?
Indirectly, actually, they are actually maybe a Bitcoin staking protocol, and we can work with them at the liquidity parts. And actually, we are working with them in the liquidity parts.
So we covered a lot. Really appreciate your breakdown and a broader perspective on what's going on in the ecosystem. I'm sure you're keeping quite busy in addition to coming to conferences and growing your community. What's some of the progress and milestones coming up with Bitlayer?
Yeah, I have a lot to share. And we have 3 versions of a mainnet. Actually, we have already launched our mainnet several weeks before. For now, we have made a lot of progress in V1, and we have launched our Ready Player programs. We have over 600 project registered, and we have the good project. We have over 200, and over 50 projects already deployed on Bitlayer mainnet, and some projects like Big Smiley, Big Cow, and Macrons and Jackson, they are doing a very good job attracting a lot of transactions and new users to this ecosystem. And some of the meme coins assets like Booms already make a very good progress. And second, our official part, we have launched our NFT Lucky Helmet, and it's very popular in the market, and it is minted in a very short time. We just do a very good, very successful mint. This is and third, we're actually making more and more progress and about the operation part and about the liquid and then I'd like to talk more about the technical progress. As I mentioned before, we are the co-contributor for Big VM projects, and also we actually making a progress with Startware's team, which is our first round investor to build an end-to-end ZK OP plus ZK environments in end-to-end system to shift our first version, second version mainnet in the next couple of months. I think hopefully we can ship that public testnet in about 2 to 3 months. This can be the very good chain, very good part from the Bitcoin Layer 2 sector.
Very cool. So you're definitely keeping busy, and I can tell how passionate both you and Charlie are about Bitlayer, and it's an honor to be one of your partners. Just to zoom out before we conclude this conversation, I just had a chance to chat yesterday with the founder of CoinGecko, get his thoughts on the macro of this cycle. What is the narrative? We talked a little bit about the importance of L2s and Bitcoin, but what's your hot take on what are going to be the top narratives for this cycle?
Actually, I'm a technical guy, so this is not my expertise. But and I always bullish Bitcoin. It can even get a new grade for Bitcoin. And second, I like to talk more about the Bitcoin ecosystem. Bitcoin ecosystem may be the only way to make Bitcoin ecosystem sustainable in the next few after halving and halving, because we need transaction on chain to subsidize the miners. So we will focus on this part. And for me, the whole history, the whole protocol, the whole industry is already ready here. We have asset protocol. We have a lot of assets. We have native L1 protocol, L2 protocols, and then we just might want to build big layer, build BTC layer 2 to make to achieve the mass adoption. This is every day I'm thinking about achieve the mass adoption.
Very cool. Thanks, Kevin, for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for being
Where
happy.
can folks find you on this today?
Thank you for being
Where
happy.
can folks find you on X? What's your handle?
Yeah, 0x Kevin He. Kevin He. Yeah.
All right, you heard it here, guys. The latest update on Bitlayer.
Thank you. Thank you.
A quick word from our sponsors who's ready to navigate the cutting edge of tomorrow's legal landscape. Because at Zuber Lawler, they're not just attorneys, they're visionaries. With expertise in emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, and the metaverse, they're paving the way for you to seize the future. For mergers and acquisitions to IP, their selective team delivers strategic solutions tailored to the ever-changing world of technology. Join us at Zuber Lawler, where the future meets the law at zuberlawler.com. Back to the episode.
Hi, everyone. This is Josh Krieger, host of Edge of NFT. I am live in Hong Kong at Forked, and we're getting to know some really awesome folks here. I have TM Lee, the CEO and co-founder of CoinGecko, a product that I love, and I'm really excited to have a chance to chat with you today. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's good to be here. When did you arrive in Hong Kong?
Just yesterday.
Okay, cool. And you're based in Malaysia, you said?
Yeah.
So I came not too far away. I was in Bali. Had to relax a little bit after a big conference that we put on. That was quite exciting. And there's a lot of folks that have come to Hong Kong for this week. What's your perspective on sort of what's happening here in terms of the blockchain and crypto community?
Yeah, I think Hong Kong has always been an energetic place. I think it still is. The last time I was here was maybe 5 to 6 years ago for various reasons. I think the energy is still there. I remember also maybe one of the first few Bitcoin conferences that I attended was in Hong Kong as well. It's always good to just be back again to see what has changed. And I think definitely because tomorrow there's going to be a Bitcoin conference and it has expanded with all the activity that we have seen lately with, Ordinals, Runes, L2 and whatnot. I think the whole agenda has also been very different than what it used to. And I think, that's good.
So I want to get your perspective on sort of all of these different trends on a macro level, because you see it all at CoinGecko. But let's start by talking a little bit about the history. You guys were founded in 2014. Did you have the aspiration to build one of the largest sort of indexing platform ecosystems in the world when you started, or was that always the vision?
Yeah, I think when we started CoinGecko in the early days, we were, like my co-founder and I, we were just very, very passionate about the industry. Like all we wanted to do was to solve a very specific problem. At the time, the product was really, how does crypto derive value? Because other than Bitcoin, there were all the other altcoins, right? At the time, that's how they put it. And we wanted to find out why values accrue to them. So that was like the original product that we have. I think fast forward to today, definitely the industry has changed a lot. I think for us also, as we move along the journey, we pivot a couple of times, and we realized that the way cryptos or tokens are launched has also mutated over time, and our product starts to mirror that, right? We start to ask ourselves, like, what's going to happen in the next 40 years? We see that anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, and there'll be millions of tokens representing all kinds of assets, and we want to be at the center of the ecosystem to index and aggregate prices so that it's easily understandable by traders, developers, and anyone who is enthusiastic about.
And that's included building an app that I use every day and I'm a fan of. When did you go into the app side?
I think the app was about 2018, 2019. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I guess one macro question I have for you, I'm really curious about your perspective. This whole idea in the last cycle was about this decoupling of Bitcoin from the mainstream markets, right? Everyone was like, there's going to be a separation. And it never really happened the way that people predicted. And what we're even seeing right now is that macro trends around like risk around the war that's happening, in Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East, they're impacting the regular markets, seem to also be impacting the blockchain and crypto markets. Do you sort of see that there's more crossover in sort of large traders that crossing both traditional and crypto markets, and that trend of decoupling might not ever happen, or do you have a different perspective?
Yeah, I think the decoupling thing was really centered around the thesis that Bitcoin acts as digital gold. I guess that's what most people are still having that kind of thesis. Even I myself still subscribe to that. But I think always in the short run, the market is always doing its own thing, right? At the end of the day, I think Bitcoin history is maybe about 14, 15 years. I can't remember for sure, but it's definitely much shorter than history of gold, right? It's still a new kind of asset to a lot of people. There are some new risks that's being introduced when anyone gets exposure into Bitcoin. I think that itself creates a kind of correlation with the macro market. So I think you will definitely see a lot of that in the short run. But in the long run, it is a different kind of asset class compared to your traditional. Even though right now you got your ETFs.
So it just was a little bit early for that sort of idea to but you think that is a possibility down the road when the market grows?
Yeah.
So another sort of macro question I have for you is around this idea of community. We've seen this massive upswing of attention on meme coins, as you know, and experiencing, of course, every day at CoinGecko. And then there's sort of other communities around the ordinals. There's traditional NFT art community, and then there's also membership communities like the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And then there's DeFi projects, and there's all sorts of new categories that are on your site. What kind of crossover are you seeing among these communities, and which of these communities are actually doing the best job of onboarding new users versus recycling the existing community?
Yeah, I think what we are seeing with the explosion of different community or sub-community, what have you, is very similar to internet in the early days. So when internet just started, the kind of people that uses it are like academias or scientists and what have you. And then later on, when it goes a little bit more mainstream, which is the Web 1 era, is more like people who are more on the bleeding edge, right? Early adopters. So when you look through the history up to today with the internet, it's very similar to the community in crypto, right? In the early days for crypto, is the Bitcoin community is centered around people who wanted to look at an alternative financial system, or people who wanted to find ways to transfer money cheaply, right? And I think that community still exists until today, and now you got stable coins and everything. So it's always an evolution, right? And over time, the fact that the platform in crypto includes smart contract and everything allows more creativity to just absorb into the space, which opens up different kind of sub-communities and different ideas gets exchanged around. At the end, it looks like internet forums or internet social media groups that spans off along in there. So at the end, I think every community does its own thing in bringing people in. I think even for myself, I didn't see any reason to get into Bitcoin or crypto until maybe I understood how economy or money works, and then I find the affinity to get involved. And now there's all kinds of community to the mainstream, like art. So even if you're interested in art or have affinity to art, you can find your way into the industry, right? So I think it just opens up more different ways for people to relate to the industry or to crypto with all these different communities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So people ask me this question all the time, so I'm going to sort of return the favor and ask you. We've had the DeFi summer trend, we have the NFT trend. Obviously, there's a lot of macro conditions happening now that are exciting, real-world assets. Gaming is sort of as hot as it always was, decentralized social. What do you think, what sub-communities have the ability to emerge this upcoming sort of cycle as like the trend? And you don't have to pick one horse yet, because I know it's still early, but what are some of the leading horses in your mind?
So I think the answer is really that I don't know what the leading horses is, also because, so I think historically there's always that one leading horse that is very, very clear.
Yeah.
And I think what's a bit different this time is also we are building up on top of the previous cycle, right? So it's reached a point where almost every horses has a reason to take the lead. So like just in the last few months, you will see that there's AI, there's RWA, there's all kinds of narrative just like racing in there. I don't know if there will be like a fill-in-the-blank summer per se, but everything looks interesting right now. So I'm hoping that NFT gaming will find its way back again because it has a lot of promising potential in the last cycle. And I think right now people are still building in that space, and I'm hoping that would come back.
So I guess I'll put one prediction on and curious on your feedback, which is sort of this Bitcoin L2 trend. I think that's a big one for this upcoming cycle. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think it opens up new use cases, get involved, different kind of people, different kind of idea as well, with Bitcoin being the settlement layer. So I think that is worth exploring and seeing.
And by the way, shout out to Bitlayer for powering this roadshow that we're on and bringing us to Hong Kong, where I get to eat too much dim sum for my own well-being. So before we close out, and really appreciate your time today, I know you have a busy schedule. Let's talk a little bit about the NFT side of things. You have sort of built in some new features around NFTs. Maybe tell us a little bit about that for our listeners and sort of what they can expect in terms of additional enhancements from here.
Yeah, so the NFT feature on CoinGecko is relatively a new addition that we started working on. Basically, we want to aggregate NFT prices, floor prices, charts, its information across different chains. I think in the last few years, we saw NFTs centered around the Ethereum ecosystem, but now it has gotten like beyond that, right? You got Ordinals, you got Blast, Solana, and so if you come to CoinGecko.com, look at the NFT section, you will find your favorite NFT project that you like to follow or watch this or follow the price action. You can do that now, and that's a new offering that we've been working on the last few months.
Very cool. Anything else recently that you've launched or coming out soon that you can speak about?
Yeah, we also have a new product called Geo Termina, which is an on-chain tracker. I think that's also something that we are working on a lot as well, based on all the new stuff that's going on. So I would say that these are among the new stuff that we're working on, but always check out CoinGecko.com, and all the features are still there.
All right. Well, thanks so much, TM, for hanging out with us. Have a great time in Hong Kong, and it was an honor to meet you, and really appreciate the work you do in our space.
All right. Thank you.
And now for a quick word from our sponsor before we dive into the next segment. Are you ready to take your sports predictions to the next level? Look no further than maincard.io, the fantasy management platform that's taking the blockchain world by storm. With Maincard, every card is a ticket to excitement. You can predict sport outcomes, trade cards in the marketplace, and challenge opponents in thrilling weekly duels. And don't wait. Head to maincard.io now and start earning rewards with your NFTs, because it pays to be early. And now back to today's episode.
Cheers. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Edge of NFT Roadshow Edition here at Ordinals Asia in Hong Kong. This special episode is powered by Bitlayer. We love what they're doing, and I know they're very close to our guest today, Albert, who is the founder of BTC Startup Lab and has become a good friend over the last few years. Albert, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Josh.
So there's a lot of action here in this room, and it's been a busy week. I know we're both tired. What's the vibe here in Hong Kong, and how does it fit into the overall Bitcoin ecosystem in your mind?
Well, the energy here is palpable, and I think that's quite representative of how Bitcoin is performing. All the new founders, all the new money, all the new attention that Bitcoin's been getting.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's obviously keeping you busy. Your lab keeps growing in demand and popularity. I think one thing that is fascinating to me about it is how a lot of these sort of experienced entrepreneurs come in sort of without knowing, where they're going with their concept. They have ideas, right? And some of them are bad ideas, but out of it comes great ideas. You just finished one accelerator program, you're starting another. What were some of the highlights of the recent program and, the types of projects that are coming out?
Yeah, I mean, let me answer on two levels. One, let's talk statistics. We had about 40 teams going in, which was up to date the largest cohort in terms of people. And then we had a little over 50% completion rate, which means over 50% got to demo day, and about half of those raised funding afterwards. So we're at 25% funding rate from when they start. It's 50%.
Literally starting from like zero.
Zero. It's actually probably less than zero, right? I technically define zero as when you have an idea that can actually become a startup.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, 25% is pretty good. But
that's a 3-month program or 3.5 months. Cool. And what were the types of companies that came out of it? Like, what were some of the common themes? Are we talking about infrastructure, gaming?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of bridging companies, right? That bridge digital assets from Bitcoin L1 to L2 or from other chains of Bitcoin. That's sorely needed. Obviously, runes is a huge topic. So it actually wasn't launched yet. It launched after our program, but some of our founders are very smart. They started building tools for runes before runes launched.
Nice.
So one of them is actually they're behind us right now, Renaissance. You can put up your rune as collateral and get BTC back.
Nice.
So it's like a lending. Yeah, and then we have like an order book for runes as well. But yeah, I mean, infrastructure, consumer products, yeah, in general, Bitcoin. We had one company that went to Dogecoin.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool, fun project.
Did they connect it with the Bitcoin ecosystem?
Yeah, they came in, and then, as you know, Dogecoin is also UTXO technology.
Oh, okay.
And decided, hey, everything they're learning at Bitcoin Startup Lab can be applied there, but there's just less competition. And now they're thinking about bridging stuff over.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's zoom out for a minute. There's a lot of talk about Bitcoin ecosystem being a major part of this bull cycle, and beyond this cycle being where all the attention is not only gotten to, but it's actually bringing in new individuals to the overall blockchain ecosystem now more than ever because it gives Bitcoin additional utility. Give us some predictions, some real hard data on what you're seeing in terms of the growth of the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah, let's put it this way. When I launched my 22nd cohort, it was actually my first all Bitcoin cohort in 2022. And at that time, we had 0 founders from Ethereum. They're all from Bitcoin. Everyone was from Bitcoin. Fast forward to summer of 2023, about 1 year later, is already 1 to 8. Still in favor of Bitcoin builders. Our most recent cohort that just graduated is 1 to 3, still in favor of Bitcoin. But get this cohort that's starting on Monday, May 13th, is 1 to 1 now. So my prediction is by the end of the year, it'll be 5 to 1 in favor of Ethereum builders. I'm also going to make another prediction that I estimate about 5% of Ethereum builders will have come to Bitcoin by the end of the year, which means that Bitcoin ecosystem in terms of builders and entrepreneurs will have more than doubled.
Wow. And if that trend continues, obviously there'd be a hockey stick at some point, in the next year or two, right?
Yeah, I think the next 12 months is the inflection point. Yeah, because most of the infrastructure stuff not built yet, right? There's over 100 L2s who threw their hat. Most of them are not launched yet.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of like the bridging I was talking about. There's almost no bridging. You count them on one hand, right, or 2 hands.
It's similar to the gaming industry with blockchain, where there's been billions of dollars invested, but these games take 3 to 5 years to build. So a lot of them have not been released yet. So what we're seeing on the ground is just the beginning of what's being built around Bitcoin. Yeah. Cool. So if folks are excited about what you guys are doing, you guys have a lot of cool educational content that people can tap into. Where do they go?
They go to btcstartuplab.com. You can check out our program. We are the biggest and best, highest quality network for Bitcoin innovation globally. There's a sign up link if you're interested, right? If you saw them through Josh's show, mention Josh, and we'll expedite your application.
All right.
Because we have way too many applications to handle right now.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us. And, it's great hanging out with you today. It's been great having fun events together. For those of you that live in LA, we did an event together to close out NFT Lake Community Week on Friday.
Yeah, that was fun. That
was good times. And look for more in the future. A little hint there. Thanks, Albert.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh.